And we had said that one of his takanos was Shiyeh Yom Hanef Kulei Asr. The entire day of waving the Omer, it's Asr to have Chadash. So a little bit of a background. Grain from the new crop called Chadash isn't permitted until the Karban Omer is brought on the 16th of Nisan, which is the second day of Pesach. So after Chorban Habayis, since there's no Karban Omer, Chadash is permitted already the beginning of the 16th. But Rabbi Yochanan Mizaka was Masakin that it's Asr all the 16th. And now the Gemara asks, my time, why was Rabbi Yochanan Mizaka in this? So the answer is, Meheri Bana Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash should speedily be rebuilt. V'yomer, people are going to say, Shtaked last year, Mila Yachalnu Beher Mizrach, didn't we already eat Chadash from the beginning of the day? Achshav Nami Nechol, now also we're going to eat Chadash in the beginning of the day. V'lo Yadi, but they're not going to know. They Shtaked Lehava Omer. Last year there was no Karban Omer because there was no Beis HaMikdash, and therefore Her Mizrach Heter, already once it's the beginning of the 16th, you're allowed to eat Chadash. But Hasha the Ika Omer, now there's a Karban Omer matter, you're only allowed to eat Chadash after the Karban Omer is bought. The Gemara asks on that the Mivnei Amos, when is the Beis HaMikdash going to be rebuilt? That we're going to run into this issue. Elim, if you want to say the Ivni Beis Shitzar is going to be built on the 16th itself, Harei Her Mizrach Heter, but that means the moment that the 16th dawns and there's no Beis HaMikdash just yet, so it's already permitted to eat Chadash, so there's really no issue for them to eat it. So Ella must be the Ivni B'Chameis. You're going to say, okay, it's going to be built on the 15th, the day before the 16th. But if so, Mechatzos Hayom U'Alan L'Shri, it should at least be permitted to be eaten from Chatzos and on. He shouldn't answer it the entire day. Datanan, we have a Mishnah, Haruchaikin, the cities that are far from Yerushalayim, and therefore they don't know when the Omer is brought. Mutar Mechatzos Hayom U'Alan, they're allowed to eat new grain already from Chatzos and on. Lefisha Ein Bezin Misatzlin, boy, that's because Bezin is not Misatzl, they're not lazy when it comes to bringing the Karban Omer, and therefore we can assume already Chatzos and on that the Karban Omer was already brought. And therefore his Takana should have at least been that after Korban you're only allowed to eat Chadash from Chatzos and on, because if the Beis HaMikdash is rebuilt on the 15th, the latest the Omer is going to be brought as Chatzos. But why Asr the whole day? So the Gemara answers, the reason for his Takana of Asring the whole day is the Ivni B'Chameser might be built on the 15th, Samach L'Shkia Sachama, right before Shkia, Inami the Ivni B'Layla might be built at night, in between the 15th and 16th, then they're not going to have enough time to prepare the Omer before Chatzos the next day, because they have to harvest it and they have to thresh it and then roast it and do everything they need to do, and it's not even going to be brought by Chatzos. And because of that, he says, you know what, the entire 16th is Asr. Now, Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, he says that there's a totally different reason for this Takana. Rabbi Yochanan Zaka, Lama Rabbi on top of Shitas Rabbi Yehuda Amar. Rabbi Yochanan Zaka was really just going in Shitas Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar, he says, Ad Etzem Hayom Hazeh. The pasuk tells us you're not allowed to eat Chadash until Etzem Hayom Hazeh. Ad Itzuma Shel Yom. And how do we understand the word Ad? That you're not allowed to eat Chadash up until, because Savar, he holds Ad V'Ad B'Chlal. The word Ad is including that day as well, and therefore you're not allowed to eat the entire day of the 16th. So that's the reason why it's Asr, because we have this pasuk. The Gemara asks, Misar V'La Kabase, do Rabbi Yochanan Zaka and Rabbi Yehuda really agree? V'Miflag Palagale, they argue on each other. Now we have a Mishnah. Mishachar Beis HaMikdash Hiskin Rabbi Yochanan Zaka Shei Yom Hanef Kulei Asr. From the destruction Beis HaMikdash, Rabbi Yochanan Zaka was Masakin, the entire 16th is Asr to eat Chadash. Rabbi Yehuda, and he says, what do you mean he's Masakin that? Who Asr? It's Asr Midai Raisa. The Chsivit says in the pasuk, Ad Etzem Hayom Hazeh. So obviously they're not agreeing with each other. Rabbi Yochanan Zaka was Masakin it, and Rabbi Yehuda says that he wasn't Masakin anything. It's Midai Raisa. So Gemara says, no, Hasam Rabbi Yehuda Huda Katai. Rabbi Yehuda actually made a mistake. He didn't understand what Rabbi Yochanan Zaka did. He thought Rabbi Rabbi Yochanan Zaka was masaking something new that never existed, but b'layhi, that's not true. Really, Midai Raisa Ka'amar. Rabbi Yochanan Zaka was saying that Midai Raisa it's usher to eat it the entire 16th. As the Gemara of Hiskin Katani, it says that he was masaking something, meaning he created a new Takana D'Rabbanan. So the Gemara says, no, my Hiskin, what does that mean he was masaking it? Darash, he darshan the pasuk to mean that you're not allowed to eat it the entire 16th, the Hiskin, and therefore he was masaking it based off the way he darshan the pasuk. So really, Rabbi Yochanan Zaka and Rabbi Yehuda are agreeing. And more Takana from Rabbi Yochanan Zaka. Originally, how you mekabel Eis HaChodesh Kol Hayom, that accept Eidim for Kiddush HaChodesh all day. Eidim for Kiddush HaChodesh were accepted all day, and Bezin would declare that day Rosh Chodesh even right before Shkia. If Eidim did not come that day, then the next day would automatically be Rosh Chodesh. Now this is relevant to Rosh Hashanah. Since if Eidim came at the end of the day and were accepted, that day would be declared as Rosh Hashanah retroactively, so therefore everyone would refrain from Malacha already the night before in the event that would happen. But now the Mishnah says that Pamachas one time Nishto Eidim Lavai, the Eidim delayed in coming, V'niskalko Levim B'Shir, and the Levim, they messed up the Shir Shal Yom. Then what does that mean that they messed up the Shir Shal Yom? So every day when the Nesachim of the Karban Tamid were brought, the Levim sang a special shir, as we say every day, Hayom Yom something Shal Shabbos, Shabai Hayu Alavim, Omer, Beis HaMikdash. So they sing this both by the morning Tamid and the afternoon Tamid. On Yontif, a different shir than usual is sung. So on a day that could potentially be Rosh Chodesh, or for our purposes Rosh Hashanah, the shir sung of the Talmud Shal Shachar was always the weekday shir, because the Eidim very rarely would come before then. However, the one sung at the Talmud Shal Bein Arabayim would be different if Eidim came and Rosh Hashanah was declared. Now the Mishnah is telling us that one time they came late after the Talmud Shal Bein Arabayim, and the Levim messed up the shir. So therefore, because of that, he's skinny the Chum or Matakin Shleim Kabam El out of Mincha, that they're only to accept Eidim up until Mincha, then Bo Eidim and a Mincha L'mal, and if Eidim came for Kiddush HaChodesh after Mincha, Nagin Isa Yom Kodesh Ulamachar Kodesh, they would keep that day as Kodesh and the next day Kodesh as well, because they didn't establish Rosh Chodesh or Rosh Hashanah until the next day. Now Mishachar Beis HaMikdash, once the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, his kin Rabbi Yochanan Zaka Shu Makabam Eis HaChodesh Kol Yom, Rabbi Yochanan Zaka was Misak, and they would accept Eidos for Kiddush HaChodesh all day because we don't have an issue with Karbanos anymore. Now the Gemara asks, Ma Kilkul Halavim Bashir, how exactly did Levim mess up with the Shir Shal Yom that day? Now Hachar Trigimu over here they explained, referring to Bavel, and Bavel, they explained, Shaloi Amru Shir Kol Ikar, that on that day, the Levim actually didn't say Shir by Tamid Shal Bein Arbaim, because they didn't know, is it still weekday, and therefore we should say the weekday Shir, or is it going to be declared Rosh Hashanah, and therefore we should say the Rosh Hashanah Shir, and therefore they didn't say any Shira. Now, Rabbi Amar, he argues and says, Amru Shir Shachal Im Tamid Shal Bein Arbaim, they said the weekday Shira with the Tamid Shal Bein Arbaim, but then it ended up turning up to be Rosh Chodesh, so retroactively it turned out they said the wrong Shir. And Amr Rabbi Zera told Ava his son, Paik Tani Luhu, go to the people of Bavel and go tell them, I'll show you that I'm right. It says in the Brisa, Hiskinu Shloim Mekabim Ez Chodesh El Kadesh shows B'yayim L'Hakrav Tmidin Umusafim Vinis Kehem. They were masaking not to accept Eis for Kiddush Chodesh unless there was enough time to bring the Tmidim and the Musafim and all the Nesachim, and there also had to be enough time V'loimer Shir Shloi B'Shivash to say Shir Shal Yayim of Tam Shal Bein Rabbayim without messing it up. Now, Iyamrit B'Shlema Amr Shir D'Chayil, if you want to say that what happens when they did mess it up, they said the weekday Shira instead of saying the Yantav Shira, Hainu D'Eka Shibash. So that's how we could say that they actually messed up. They should have said the Yantav Shira, and instead they said the weekday Shira. El Yamrit Loy Amr Shira Klal. But if you're going to say, like you Chacham of Bavel say, that they didn't say the Shira at all, not a weekday Shira, not a Shabbos Shira, so my Shibash Ika, what type of mess up is there? Usually a mess up is you do the wrong thing. Here they didn't do anything. So the Gemara says that's not a question. Kivin Loy Amr Klal, since they didn't say the Shira at all, and the Shibash Gadol Mizeh, that is the greatest Shibash ever. If you don't say any Shir, so that's also considered a Shibash, so there's no raya for Abzera's Shita. But now Masar Ravacha Bar Huna, he asks on the Talmid Chacham of Bavel that said that they didn't say Shir at all. Talmid Shal Rosh Hashanah Shachris Karv Kil Chasai. The morning Talmid of a day that could potentially be Rosh Hashanah is brought like a normal Talmid. It has the regular Shir Shal Yom sung. And Musaf Mahu Aimer, let's say that day actually turned out to be Rosh Hashanah, and therefore they have to bring a carbon Musaf. So what Shir would Levim sing? Harninu L'Kimuzenu Harilu Ke Yaakov. And that's actually the Shir Shal Yom of Thursday, but it's also sung by the carbon Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. Now, Mincha Mahu Aimer, what would they say by the carbon Mincha? And now again, this day is Rosh Hashanah. Kol Hashem Yachal Midbar. And when Rosh Hashanah actually comes out on Thursday, Shashir Shalai Harninu L'Kimuzenu, on Thursday, the Shir Shal Yom, the regular Shir Shal Yom is Harninu L'Kimuzenu. So Lai Ha'ayim B'Shachris Harninu, they wouldn't say that Shir Shal Yom in the morning, because they're going to end up repeating it again by the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. Then we don't want to repeat the Shir twice. Elamahu Aimer. So what would they say by Shachris? Hasiraisim Yisevel Shechmai, which is actually the second half of that same parak of Tehillim. And V'imbo Edim Achar Tam Shal Shachar, if Edim came after Tam Shal Shachar, meaning that they could have been Rosh Hashanah, but they didn't know yet until after Tam Shal Shachar. So Aimer Harninu, they would say the Shir Shal Yom of Harninu again, which is the Shir Shal Yom of Thursday. They would say that in the morning Tamid, even though in this scenario they're going to end up having to repeat that parak twice, because now that it turns out to be Rosh Hashanah, they're going to have to bring the carbon Musaf of Rosh Hashanah and say this parak again twice in one day, but that's not a problem. And now here's the question: if you're going to say that Kol Hechet Mistapka, anytime we're in Suffolk, we're not so sure which Shir to say. Amrin Shir Dechol, we're always going to go with the weekday Shir because we don't know if this day is going to be Yantif or not. So Hainu Deka Amar, Amr V'Kaifloi. That's why in this scenario, when we're not so sure if today's going to be Rosh Hashanah, we say that let's say the Shir Shal Yom of Thursday in the morning, and if it turns out to be Rosh Hashanah, okay, so we'll say that same Shir Shal Yom by the Musaf. Eli Amr Loy Amr Klal. But if you're going to say that if we're Besafik and we don't know if today is Yantif or not, we're not going to say anything. So my Amr V'Kaifloi, why would this Brisa tell us that we should repeat the Shir? So obviously it must be that when we're Besafik, we go with the weekday Shir, not like the Chama Bavel. So Gemara says, not a right. Lamed Alaf Amad Alaf on the top. Shani Hasam. That particular case is different. The Shir the Yamehi. We happen to be talking about a case where Rosh Hashanah could fall out on Thursday. So if you repeat it, it's not a big deal anyway, because it's the Shir Shal Yom of Thursday and also the Shir Shal Yom of Rosh Hashanah. However, the case in the Mishnah was talking about where Rosh Hashanah was not on Thursday, and therefore it's possible the Chum and Bavel are correct that they actually didn't say any Shir because they were besafek. Should they say a weekday Shir or should they say Rosh Hashanah Shir? We're going to stop here for the day. Pick up tomorrow discussing the Shir Shal Yom that we say every single day. For now, everyone should have a wonderful day.
Wow.